Hi, this is Fred from Tactical Workshop. This is the second tutorial video for the fixed bayonet system. Today we're going to talk about combat unit formations and how to use them in the game. Okay, so we have all different types of units here: artillery, infantry, and cavalry, and then a non-combat unit, artillery train unit. We're going to talk about artillery and the train at the end. We'll start with the formations of an infantry unit and a cavalry unit. Those formations are similar for both types. An important concept when it comes to formation is the facing. A unit can be facing either a hex corner like this or a hex side like this. The facing will determine which formation the unit is in, and also determines what kind of X's are around the unit: front X's, flank X, and rear X's. Alright, the first formation is the line. You can have infantry lines and cavalry lines. We're gonna discard the light company for now. The infantry line is a formation that maximizes firepower, and the cavalry line maximizes the shock effectiveness of a charge, especially against another cavalry unit. So in order to show that a unit is in line, you have the counter face X corner. So for example, this is a line of infantry, this is a line of cavalry, another line of infantry here. A unit with more than 2 steps, so 3 or 4, can extend its line into another hex. In order to show the extension, you use an extension marker. For example, this infantry line here extends itself in the hexagon next to it. So now this X has 2 steps in it, and that X has the last 3rd step. For cavalry, you do the same thing. You place the marker next to it. Now if you want to extend to the other side, you just flip the marker and you can extend to the left. Flip it, you extend to the right. Each hex here has 2 steps in it. The unit here cannot extend because it only has 2 steps. Let's take a look at the adjacent X's of units in line. You have 3 units in line there, 2 infantry units and 1 cavalry unit. The front X's of those units are those. The flank X's are there. And the rear hexes are there. Now let's take a look at the unit on the right and see those hexes for that particular unit. Alright, the next formation is the column. The infantry column has the unit facing a X side. Here is one, here is another column. Cavalry column, the same. Now those units that are in column have adjacent X's as follows: front X's, flank X's, and rear X's. Now we can see those X's for the unit on the right. Third formation is the road column. The road column allows a unit to move faster, but it has some stacking requirements that are more stringent than the regular column. The stacking requirements for road columns are 2 steps of infantry or cavalry per X and 1 step of artillery per X. So for example, this unit and this unit would have to extend in order to enter road column formation. So a unit like this would extend by placing a road column marker facing it in the X behind. If that unit was actually on the road, the marker would just trail behind it, following the road. This cavalry unit would have the road column marker placed here. Now this unit doesn't need to extend, so in order to show it's in road column, just flip the marker to its blue side here. Because it's a French unit, you can use the red side for the Allied units. You would place the marker on the unit itself to show that it's in road column. If multiple units are following each other on a road in road column, then you would indicate it like so. Here is a unit with 3 steps, so it needs to extend by placing a road column marker here. Here is a unit, another unit with 3 steps. It would be able to stack here and place another road column marker here. This hex has 2 steps. This hex has the trailing 3rd step from this unit, plus 1 step from this one. This hex would have the last 2 steps from this unit. So you just maximize stacking along the road. Now, in case you have units stacked together with road column markers, the unit here that is extended has the road column marker placed at the bottom of the stack here. If it was stacked with another unit in road column, then you would put another marker on top. So this marker shows that this unit is in road column. This marker shows that this one is extended. So you wouldn't just do this, that would be difficult to tell. Now, in order to change formation between a road column and a different formation, or also an extended line in another formation, for example, that kind of line here, first the unit has to contract to occupy a single X. So it would spend the movement cost to bring that extension back into its X, and then pay the cost to change formation into a column or into a line, for example. For the line, same thing. You would have to bring the extension into the X by paying the cost, and then pay the cost of this formation change to change into a column here, for example. The adjacent X's for the road column are the front X's, a single front X, flank X's, and a single rear X. And here they are all combined together. Some units are able to deploy into a skirmish screen formation. Those units are denoted by the green movement factor on their counter. In order to show that an infantry unit deploys in skirmish screen, you just flip the counter to its skirmish screen side. This side only shows a skirmish modifier value here and no more combat value, because it can only influence other enemy units with its skirmish modifier. The light cavalry unit here can also deploy in skirmish screen. In order to do so, you just put the unit straddling in 2 X's, and that would be also valid for a single step in this case. In order to see it better, you can also optionally add a skirmish screen marker on top of the unit. Now let's take a look at the adjacent X's for skirmish units. Front X's, the rear X's, and the X's around the cavalry unit on the left there. In order for combat units to enter terrain that is marked green on the terrain effects table, the unit has to change into general order. So here is a series of wood X's. The infantry unit here, whether it's in line formation or any other formation, when it enters the wood X and pays the entry cost, automatically change into general order. General order formation has no facing, so the unit can face X side or X corner, it doesn't matter. And all of the X's around the unit are front X's. When a unit leaves a general order mandating X, it needs to pay the formation change cost as it leaves the X. So for example, this unit here would have to pay an extra point to move into a non-general order X and choose a formation, either a column or a line. Infantry units of any size can change into a square formation. To indicate that, you just place a square marker on the unit. A square has no facing, just like general order. All the X's adjacent to the unit are front X's, and the unit can be facing an X side or a vert or X corner at player's discretion. There are many ways for units engaged in combat operations to lose cohesion. It is shown in the game by placing a disorder marker on the unit. Most likely the unit has failed a TEM check. Disorder has no facing and front X's all around. Finally, let's take a look at artillery and train units. Let's do train units first. Train units occupy a single X, they have a single step, and that's the maximum stacking limit for the X, so nothing else can stack with a train unit. Train units don't have any facing, and they move as if they were limbered artillery. And finally, artillery units, they have 2 formations, either limbered, like so, facing a hex side, or unlimbered, you flip the counter and you face a vertex or a hex corner. Limbered artillery units act as if they were in road column and cannot fire. An unlimbered artillery unit can fire, but not move, except by a special move that's called a prolonge, which is moving 1x forward or 1x backward when the terrain is clear. Now, as for the hexes adjacent to an artillery unit, unlimbered, we have the front hexes, the flank hexes, and the rear hexes. And here they are all together. This completes the tutorial video for the formations. Please refer to the rule book for further information on combat formations. For infantry and cavalry it's chapter 5, and for artillery and train units it's chapter 6. I will see you next time with a tutorial on movement.